So for example, right, it says here in the figure below, A, B, E. So there's A here, B here, E over there. They said it is a triangle, it has a base that is X meters. And then it says the base and the perpendicular height of the triangle add up to 10 meters. So this sentence is important because you don't want to just let these kinds of information slide. They said the base of the perpendicular, the base, which is this distance here, so it's X, right? And the perpendicular height, which is H. So what we already know is just from this statement here, they're trying to tell us that X plus H is equal to 10. You see, that's important because now we have an equation which will allow us to write one of these variables as the subject of the formula. So here it says the triangle is mounted on a rectangle, which is BCDE. And then it says here, which has a perimeter of 32 meters. So again, you see, we want to know what these kinds of words mean. Perimeter, we know it refers to the different sides of your shape added up. So the length here, which is X, right? What we know is if this is X, this is automatically going to be X. And we don't know what this is, but we know it's equal to the other side over there. They told us everything adds up to 32. So what we already know is the 32, right? I mean, this side here, the BC and the DE, we don't have any value for it, but we can write BC and DE in terms of X. We can do that because firstly, what we know is 32 meters, right? That's everything together. So if you take 32 and you minus X and you minus X again, whatever you have left is what BC and what ED is. Or rather, you can just put it this way, 32 minus 2X, right? If you take 32 and you remove 2X, what you're left with is these two put together, you see. So the distance of BC plus ED, right? What we know is 32 minus 2X. This is what BC and ED is equal to. EC and, I mean, ED and BC put together is equal to 32, which is the whole thing, minus 2X. However, we know that BC and ED are the same. So what we can say is the length of BC and the length of ED, right? It's just going to be 32 minus 2X divided by 2. If you simplify this, you're going to get 16 minus X. So what we can easily do is, we know that this side here can be written as 16 minus X. This side here, we can write it as 16 minus X. Now, don't take for granted the fact that we are still talking about this description and we haven't even read the question yet. That's normally how you want to go about it, you see. So in terms of what's normal, it's easy for us to look at a sketch and then look straight at the question without even looking at the description. But then, I mean, obviously, if we're going to answer a question, we're eventually obviously going to look at the description. But the thing is, the description is something that is too underrated, in the sense that you see now, if you're going to now read this question, show that the area of the figure A, B, C, D, E is equal to this expression. The one thing is that this entire value here is meters squared, right? Which is fine. But then this entire value here, there is no other variable except for X. So already you want to know, okay, fine, the area of this shape is not going to be difficult to get. And you already saw that whatever we did here, we already know that the area of this shape here is just length times breadth. But then before we can work out the area, we have to at least, give dimensions to our different sides. So that's how we're able to see that, okay, we have to get a side here. And you saw we didn't do anything crazy. We just used the information they gave us. 32, which is everything, minus 2X, which is 1X and another X. If you divide that by 2, you get one side, which is also equal to the other side. Now for the top shape here, the area of our triangle, we already know it's half base times height. Now the issue is our expression here only has X as the only variable. So whatever we're going to do, we need to make sure that our values or whatever we write down, the only variables there have x in it. So our base has x, which is simply x, but then our height, we have to write it in terms of x, you see. This is where this statement comes in, because this statement allows us to make h the subject of the formula, which we can write as 10 minus x, you see. So what this does is, in terms of us now getting our area of our shape, we already know that we have to get the area of the triangle, which we know is just going to be a half multiplied by the base multiplied by the perpendicular height, 10 minus x. And what we know is this, we just have to leave it as an expression, you see. This is just a half x, and then here 10 minus x, right? If you want to multiply inside, it's fine. You're going to have a half x here times 10, right? Which is going to be 10x over 2. Because remember, when you multiply a fraction with a value, you only multiply the top because the bottom has a 1. So this times this is 10x over 2. And then here, this times x is negative x squared over 2. And then carrying on, we know 10 over 2 is just going to give us a 5. And then here, if you want, I mean, like 1 over 2 is just a half. Then you can have your squared there. So we have our area of our triangle. As we know, we should have gotten, we know we have to get the triangle. That one is straightforward. Same as the rectangle, we have to get the area of the rectangle there. So getting the area of the rectangle, as you can see, we're also not doing anything crazy. We're just doing something very normal. Length is just x, breadth is just this. Whatever you want to call the length or the breadth, it doesn't matter, you see. So here it's just going to be the 16 minus x multiplied by the x, because it's length times breadth. So this is just going to give us 16 times x, which is 16x, negative x times x is negative x squared. So what we know is that the area is going to be equal to this plus that, you see. So here 5x minus the half x squared plus this thing here. So fortunately, we don't have to put any brackets because we're plussing, So adding these together, now we can just use our calculator. So here I have to be careful because I'm seeing, you see here, there's a negative 3 over 2, and it's coming from this minus that because these are like terms. Negative a half minus 1 gives you negative 3 over 2x squared. 5 plus the 16 is going to give us a 21x. So you see, the closer we got to the question, the more we started making use of this to see if we were on the right track. And yes, we are. We're on the right track. Everything we did here, there is nothing that was difficult. So let me actually do this for now.